It's about time we address the situation and begin to get back to you. We hold the candle, light signal for you, self-respect. Reputation destroyed by what you can expect to be. The faceless in between. Because I know you can handle it. To face the truth of the matter, it's still so much better to leave the light than drag it to your grave.
This program is a collaboration of personal opinions and individual free thought. It does not represent the views or narrative of the mainstream corporate media hacks. Viewer discretion is advised.
And here we go. Live from the bell tower, taking a stand for your rights, your liberties, and all the bullshit in between. You're listening to the Bell Podcast.
Shoot, is it Monday? Are we here on a Monday?
That never happened.
It never happens anymore.
It could be.
I don't know what's going on. We're
I can't
here.
hear-
I can't really either. Can't hear you at all.
can't hear me.
I can hear you. You unplugged your freaking headphones. They can hear you. You don't hear you. And you. Good God, man. Good God. Wow. Wow. I think we've only been doing this 4 years now. 4 years now.
Yes, 4 years.
Hear yourself now.
I can hear myself.
4 long years
Yep, since the COVID debacle.
since George Floyd protests, since
Yep.
COVID-19, since the freaking last presidential, the Trump-Biden
Yep.
presidential debate. Man, a lot of shit has gone on in 4 freaking
No
years.
joke. I think we need a vacation.
We need a vacation, and it's kind of hard to say, but this may be one of our last show for a while at least.
Yep.
Because I have the pleasure of getting out of this shithole house and getting to a different house, hopefully less of a shithole. And I have no idea what the internet's like there, or what if there's even a place to set up a room like this there.
Right.
And to be honest with you, I'm just kind of tired of this. Like, I
Turns
love
out-
the show. I
Yeah.
love the show. No, not tired of the show. Not tired of the people we interact with in the 4 years. I'm tired of the same old shit. I mean, this is our second presidential election cycle we've gone through.
Yeah.
And it's just, this part's not fun anymore. Like, when
Yeah.
it's the same thing. We've gone through this is the second year of the Russian war now.
Doesn't look like it's slowing
Two
down.
and a half years. It was
Yeah.
February 2022.
Yes.
I don't fucking.
Yeah. More wars on the horizon.
Yeah, all kinds of wars on the horizon. So I mean, we're gonna just kick this show off. We gotta talk about politics because Kamala Harris picked a running mate, and it just kind of fits with like the circle back to the COVID shit because he was one of the COVID tyrants. He was one
He
of the
was-
worst perpetuators
As bad as
of the COVID
Yep.
regime. And so, I mean, it's only fitting that
Yeah.
it's just like, I'm not sure if we're moving like this weekend, next weekend, but I feel in the midst of all of it, I'm not going to have time to do a show. We will, I mean, I'm not, this isn't going to be our absolute last show. We're not going to end on this note.
No.
We'll figure out a way to do something freaking awesome. But this is going to be our final show for a while, for a bit.
Yeah.
And then I got to come up with a decision because one way or another, I either got we're both fucking busy now, and it's like I used to have like all the time to put in the show, and I don't anymore. And it gets to the point where I'm like, I either put more into it or I stop doing it. I don't like half-assing things, and I feel like we're just kind of half-assing it at this point. And so this after this week, there's going to be a break at least, and then if we do or don't, hey, somebody's here to join our possibly one of our final shows. And he was one of the first on our show. He was definitely our first guest on our show. So Dan Smots, who is he's got his own little ditty that he does. I think. Do you still do your ditty?
Yeah, somebody's got to keep the dream alive around here. What? Am I here?
There we go. We're back.
Hello?
Hello?
Dan? Hello?
Hi? Hello?
I can't hear you at all. You're here.
Hold on.
Oh, this might be a train wreck of epic proportions.
How about now?
Nope. Still nothing. Can you hear me? Shake your head yes or no. Okay, you can hear me, so that's good. So it's probably on you then. Hang on just a second. Let me see.
Check.
There's something stupid. No, because everything else on here is all our StreamYard audio is working, and that would be triggering StreamYard. Dan, try to figure your shit out. We're chatting here. Like I said, we're at a crossroads here. It's either we come back with full force in a later date, like maybe a new direction, maybe just something completely different, or maybe this same thing, just more effort. I don't know. Or we come back and do a final send off for Rob in the future where it's just like a freaking party. One way or another, we'll do something like that because this was just kind of a last second, spur of the moment thing. It's like, yeah, we might not be able to do this again. So,
Right.
So I have other obligations and I have other priorities, which, other than talking about the stupid shit we've been talking about. Let me. I still can't hear Dan. Dan, you're open your mouth. Dan,
Check.
I feel like I can almost hear you, but I don't know. We're gonna talk about this new VP guy. What's his name again? Tim Waltz. Wow.
Yes.
And I don't know.
Name is Tampon Tim? Yes.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Yeah, that's his nickname.
We got it. No. We got it. That sounds like pertinent information for the actual show. We're gonna get into this theme ditty that we've been playing for the last 4 freaking years now, and
Check.
back. We're gonna hopefully be joined with the System Is Down podcast.
Check.
And we're gonna talk about Tampon Tim, who has apparently an affection for the equine breed.
Right. Is he one of those that like dresses up?
No,
okay.
it's better. It's much better.
Better?
Yeah. So we'll come back. We'll talk about Tiny Tampon Tim, and we'll see where this show goes. I don't notice. I'm not like in my notes say this. Like, you know what? Fuck it. I mean, this whole country's going to shit anyway, real quick. So let's just see it out the right way, I guess. We'll be right back.
What did you say?
You talking to me?
What the heck are you talking about?
What did you say?
What did you say? What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What are you saying?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Well, maybe he was talking to me.
What did you say?
Talk to me.
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
Talk to me, baby.
Did you just say?
What did you say?
You listen to me. Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
What the hell are you talking about?
Who are you talking to?
back. Hopefully we can get Dan back here. I see him. Let's see if we can hear him. Dan, can you hear us? Talk. Dan? Hello? Hey, there it is.
Hi.
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 Get rid of this stupid music. So, Dan Smots of, what's the name of your show again?
Fuck you.
Okay. Dan Smots of the Fuck You podcast.
Is that still active?
Is that still a thing? Are you still?
I think it's going to be tough for you guys to give me shit on how inactive my podcast is on your last episode. But go ahead.
We've
Tentative,
been so
tentative.
You haven't
Mhm.
probably haven't
Whatever,
noticed
guys.
how
Just accept it.
inactive our podcast has already been in the this past summer. I mean, it's just been kind of hit or miss all summer. And
Look, if it wasn't already over, I've gotten you canceled multiple times so far.
True.
So
Well,
I
might
don't
as
know
well.
why I would hold back at this point on the last
Right.
episode.
I'm not even going to ask you to. It's not really our last episode because we can't have this be our last episode. We got to go off with a
That's
bang and like banging. Dan with the Dan Has Downs podcast. That's what Derek Ambrose says. I mean, he's
the one.
that's about as
That's a good
accurate
one.
as it gets.
Mhm.
So Derek Ambrose is here, and Derek has been a loyal listener for a long time. And
Yes.
Derek, in case you
He
missed,
has been the loyal listener for a long time.
he has pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
Derek, it pains me to say this. We don't know where we're going from here because I'm moving and I'm getting a different place. And I don't know if it has studio space or I don't know. Like after 4 years of this and we're in there's something about being in your second presidential election during your podcast tenure that's just like, fuck,
Sad.
I'm so sick of this shit.
And this one seems like a bigger shit show than the last one.
Yes, it's just like I'm just I don't know. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. And it's like, Dan, I don't know if you heard, but I'd said one way or another, like this will be it for a while because
Oh, thank God.
like all this shit's getting packed in a box here probably this week. So at some point we will be back, either A, to like come back stronger than ever, or B, just to send this show off the right way and just burn this shit to the ground. So don't get us totally canceled yet, because then everybody will just miss out on our complete burning down of.
If I get you canceled before the end, I will have you on to whatever the hell my show is called to have your finale there.
All right, perfect. All right,
and then you'll
Whatever.
get 500 times more viewers over there on my whatever it is podcast.
500.
Wouldn't that be 5 people? It might be a bit of an exaggeration, but it's not that much of an exaggeration.
I mean, we have 2 viewers right now, so that would be maybe 10. So, I said we wanted to talk about like it says a lot about like what are the state of our country when like our world is completely, seemingly like almost completely at war at this point. Like Iran's about to attack Israel. Who fucking cares? Ukraine is like bombing their own nuke plants, and Russia is like, why are you doing that? And we're just like, you know what, let's just overshadow all this with our own stupid politics. And it's stupid politics.
It is.
Did you find the Trump X thing stuff
It's not
that you were
working.
looking for?
It's down. The system is down because
What?
Trump was supposed to be returning to X tonight in an interview / conversation with Elon Musk on Twitter Spaces, and it is not working.
Just out there at all. So
is that it's funny because the British are probably blocking it, right?
Do you know Trump's gonna come out and be like, I did this, I broke the internet,
Yeah, right.
with my my massive popularity.
Oh, it's going now. I'll see you guys later.
Okay.
Not really.
You can just
I'll
play it
stick
for us
around
if you
for
like. You can just play it.
Yeah, if I can share.
I think
going right now.
I think you can share it. I feel like you have the rights to share. Let me
Playing
see.
in my ears. If I can share it, I'll share it.
Guest viewer play a sound when guests stream to their own destinations. Green room. Oh, I didn't know we could have a green room now where you can sit in the
me
the green
neither.
room instead of sitting on that waiting screen. You get to sit in a different waiting screen, probably.
This is great content, you guys.
Yes.
It's a wonder this show isn't lasting.
Hey, I'm in like fucking. I'm like senioritis, like fuck it, last day of work mode here, where it's just like, we're supposed to be doing a thing, and there's people like they're counting on this shit, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, fuck it. Anyway, I thought you were doing something, but apparently you're not.
It's playing in my ear, and it's driving me crazy. If I don't know how to share it, though, do I have to share the screen?
Probably.
Screen sharing works best on a good computer, they said. That's good to know.
Wow, they're shit talking your computer. Are you sure you want to do this? Because this works best on a good computer. And this is not. You're on an Apple, so it's not good. I'm on an Apple. That's why everything just went to shit earlier, probably. So, so do you want to keep trying this while we sit here and wait?
Let's just wait. Let's wait as long as it takes.
Mrs. Smots is
Your
here.
second viewer.
No, third.
Yeah, third.
Because there's three.
The other one is my friend and realtor.
Tell your friend and realtor to say hi. Introduce yourself, friend and realtor.
I don't want to bring things down at all, but I'm pretty sure the other one is me because I think I have the stream open somewhere.
That's fine. That's fine. Mrs. Smott says, Dan with the best podcast ever. Why are you going to come on our show and say this show is, hi, Mrs. Smotts. I
got to get Trump out of my ear and I can't find him. I can just repeat back to you what he's saying to the best of my ability so we can play telephone instead of pulling this up on your own stream.
You could just send it to me.
The flame of the gun, immediately recognized that, immediately took us and was one perfect shot from very far away. If he didn't do that, Elon, he would have. I mean, if we would have, could have, a lot more people could. You can look this up; it's verbatim. And killed.
I believe you.
I believe it sounds like him.
Anyway, I can send you the link if you want to let's do it, but I'm gonna turn it off in my ear.
Well, yeah, let's just turn it off. Who cares? Fuck it. Let's talk about Kamala Harris's VP pick, because Kamala Harris is the chosen one to break that ceiling. Not only the glass ceiling for women as president, but also like women of color. This is like a big moment for women of color. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it changes.
It depends on what crowd she's in.
Yeah, right.
Because when she's at an African American church, it's very black.
Yes.
When she's around Hispanics, it's very Hispanic. Yes. When she's around Middle Eastern people, she's Indian. Yes. So she has that blanket race card where it just goes around to all of them.
She's not like Hillary who has to carry hot sauce with her.
So she's breaking that glass ceiling by choosing her first decision as the presidential candidate is to choose another old white dude as a VP pick.
Maybe it's just comfort.
Score one for the boys. Am I right?
I mean, to be fair, he's 60, so that's young for politics, for U.S. politics.
He's got a good.
He's like
8 years.
He's like a millennial in political age. So he's. I mean, you got 39-year-old Vance, who's like a freaking teeny bopper in politics, and then you got this guy, Tim Walz. I keep forgetting his name. That's how great of a candidate he is. I have read his name at least 50 times tonight, and I can't remember his fucking name to save my life.
Not memorable.
How do you pronounce it, Craig?
Waltz? Is that how you pronounce it?
Walls. Do not give him more credit. Waltz is a way cooler name than Walls.
Okay. Walls
as in build the walls.
There we go.
Now what I think their slogan should be is Walls has balls.
Walls
I mean,
that's contradictory to his message.
To his actual,
Don't look at the balls.
Right. Walls removes balls.
Yes. There you go. That's more accurate.
Standing up for trans rights.
Yes. Remove the balls, vote for Walls.
Tim Walz.
Balls for walls.
Governor
balls
of Minnesota, apparently.
Balls to the walls, y'all.
Balls to the walls. I love
transgender support. It's called balls to the walls.
Balls to the walls. Yes. We just throw them against the walls after we cut them off. So Minnesota governor, he's been called up to the majors.
Yeah.
His most notable accomplishments have been not only lockdown mandates, but also stay in your house lockdown mandate.
Report on your neighbor.
Yeah, that was the next one. Hotline
Yeah.
for COVID snitches.
Yeah.
That was one of his accolades.
Kill
mask
Whitey,
mandate.
my favorite.
Kill Whitey.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he supported BLM pretty heavily, so.
Oh yeah. Amazing handling of the George Floyd riots.
Yeah.
One article which we may get into, we may not, says he seemingly it appeared that he withheld the National Guard support for it's just like it's not really seemingly, he just it was just a thing that he did.
Yeah.
If he didn't call him up right away, then
it sure looked like he did that thing. He definitely did.
yes. Like allegedly withheld or like delayed National Guard response. It's like, well, you either do it right away or you delay it. That like delay is the definition of not doing it right away. And if he didn't do it right away, then it's no longer allegedly. Oh, and then also the biggest thing he's notable for is he most recently coined the Democrats' latest catchphrase.
Oh, what's that?
The "that's weird" line that came from him. Remember we talked about that whenever we podcast the last.
So he works for the CIA. You're saying?
Yeah. Basically, yes. So this thing that the Democrats are like, this is great,
right?
Is that's weird?
Yeah.
And it came from this old white dude. He's like, yeah, they're a little weird.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? They are weird.
Yeah.
And it's becoming a thing. It's like, it works better than calling them tyrants and freaking fascists and Nazis and stuff. Let's just call them weird.
Yeah.
Like more people can get on board. And that doesn't get under people's skin so much when after Trump gets shot, you can't call him a Nazi anymore.
Right.
So let's just call him. Just call him. It's weird that they want to get in our bedrooms. It's weird that they want to get in our wombs.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful. I think it's a brainwashing tactic entirely, and it is fun to see the reactionary right wingers who are like, "What? You're weird. No, you're weird." Like, and that's what we've come to. Just you're weird. No, you're weird. But I do think it's beautiful that we started with literally Hitler, white supremacist, fascist, Nazi, Antichrist. And it's like, guys, I told him this like 7 years ago. Don't blow your wad right out the gate. You can't start with it. Like, you can't hold that stance for the next 8 years.
Yeah.
And now, like, they've worked through the entire list so rapidly and viciously and rapidly that now we're down to, you're a weird liar. Take that, you
but the thing
bag.
Basically what you're saying is there's no defense for that's you're just weird. It's like
no, you're weird.
No. Because you can actually
trigger right wingers really hard.
It really does. Because you can actually defend against like the Charlottesville stuff and the blatant lies, like the Nazi propaganda, like Nazis and siding with the Klan and stuff. You can debate against that with actual facts, but you can't debate against you're weird with literal facts.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not weird. Here's the statistical analysis that proves that I am more common folk than you, sir.
If it wasn't the Republican Party, if it was the Libertarian Party, even though the Libertarian Party has so many flaws, let's not even get into Chase. What's Chase Oliver up to these days? That's what I'd like to know. But besides that, if libertarians, if the defense,
you're the only person wondering. But go on.
If the defense against the Libertarian Party was you're weird, they'd be like, fuck yeah, we're weird. And then you would get on with a video of how weird the Libertarian Party is, and you would embrace that shit. But the Republicans are like, oh, no, we're not the weird ones. You guys cut off dicks and stuff. You're weird.
Yep.
I
right. But it also isn't like a strong look.
Mrs. Smots is a commenter, and she's getting upset that I'm not commenting or reading them. So I got to get into Mrs. Smots' comments. Kamala is the reason to repeal the 19th Amendment. That's my favorite comment ever.
Reach.
And I love your wife for comments
Me
like
too.
this. I don't know her well, but I know her enough to know that I love her.
What else do you need to know except for that comment right there? I mean, come on, that says enough.
If women were never allowed to vote, we would have never been in the position we are today. I'm just sorry.
That's true.
And then she says, transing kids. There's probably the balls to the walls. That's all we got to say to that.
yeah.
Derek says they only read our comments every 23.5 minutes. I mean, Derek, to be fair, I'm reading them. I'm only acknowledging them
Yes,
every
that's true.
23.5 minutes. And he says fake super chats don't work here. I have not figured out what fake super chats are yet.
No, we don't have that.
Well, it seems a little late at this point.
we should set up a fake super chat.
Yes. No, one of my favorite memes is it's got walls and it says America's dad, and then it has Vance and it says the weird uncle.
Sure.
Okay. What?
Burn.
I mean, who do you like more? Your dad when you were growing up? Your dad or your weird uncle?
The weird uncle.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not really a defense.
I don't know.
either.
How weird of an uncle are we talking?
We're talking
that's
buy
true.
beer and
Okay.
watch rated R movie
Not
and smoke
like-
a cigarette
Not
and
like
not
Uncle
not
Joe
pedo
Biden.
shit.
Not
Yeah,
Uncle Joe
yeah,
Biden.
not
Come,
sniffing in the shower.
come sit on my lap, weird uncle. Who is Tim Waltz? The CBS News wants to talk about who is Tim Waltz. In case we were wondering, I want to see what they have to say who Tim Waltz was, and then I want to talk about who Tim Waltz actually is because
Walls, you motherfucker.
Walls. I'm
Put some
sorry.
disrespect on his name.
Sorry, I'm disrespecting the Waltz. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has been selected as running mate for the Democratic. Let me pull this up so people can see it. For the Democratic nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris. Harris announced in a Tuesday morning social media post that Midwestern Progressive will join her on the ticket heading into November election. Harris and Walz will campaign in all 7 battleground states in coming days, beginning with an appearance in Philadelphia on Tuesday, Walz's first event as Harris's running mate. As a governor, somebody read this in Harris's voice. Dan, you got a good Harris voice, I'm sure.
As governor, a coach, a teacher, and a veteran, he's delivered for working families like this.
Why does it always sound like Harris's
It's
orgasm?
great to have him on the team.
Jesus Christ. I knew that when it was very disappointing, but I knew you would get it right. Walz was among a deep bench of potential running mates. There was so many potential great choices for running mates that they picked Walz, the guy nobody could remember his name of. Including Senator Mark Kelly of Arizona, Governor Josh Shapiro, and Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear. There's no what's his name, Gavin Newsom on that
I
list?
know, yeah.
Because remember it was Shapiro and Newsom,
Yeah.
and they're like,
and the Michigan chick.
they're like, we don't
Whitmer.
want to tie this guy to, like we can't have 3 COVID tyrants in our
Yeah.
list here. We only have room for 1 COVID tyrant. Now in his second term as governor, Walz, who is 60, also served 12 years as a U.S. congressman before his successful 2018 run to lead the state. Before his political career, the Nebraska native served in the Army National Guard for nearly a quarter century, all the way up to, conveniently, 2 or 3 weeks before he was supposed to deploy to Iraq. And then he's like, you know what? Deuces, I'm out, bitches. Have fun.
Yeah.
22 months in Iraq. Have fun.
Yeah.
A graduate of Nebraska's Chadron State College, he taught high school in China for a year. Does anybody think that's weird?
That is weird.
Is that a normal thing to just go teach in China?
Not really.
Dan, can you, and like you're smarter on all this stuff?
What's the question?
Is it normal for just is going and teaching in high school in China a normal thing? I feel like the Republicans are going to definitely use this against them because they've always said like Joe Biden has all these China ties and Trump's like no China, no China. Vance is even like no China, no China. And then she's like, you know what? We're going to get a guy that taught high school in China. I don't know.
Well, have you seen the Chinese grades? Like, clearly he did a good job, at least.
No, yeah, apparently.
Smart.
I don't know. There's something there. There's got to be.
Yeah, he's brainwashed.
There's just got to be. He learned the ways of communism over there and brought it back to our.
He's got
great
that
country.
quote: "Uphold your progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborly values.
But that's just not true, though.
No, not at all. Not at all.
You can't just put two things in a sentence and it's true. You can't.
I agree.
One person's blatant communism and like violating everybody's rights is another person's neighborliness.
Yeah.
No, that's just not it at all.
One is you borrow eggs, the other is you get shot against the wall.
Yes. Derek says, dude did a standard enlistment in the Nation Guard. He's an absolute socialist, says Mrs. Smots. Let's see. He went on to teach at Mankato West High School for 12 years and served as an assistant football coach. He also helped form the school's first gay-straight alliance group in the 90s. Man, that's a big step in the 90s.
In the 90s? That's huge.
It's Minnesota. What do you expect?
That's true.
Walls met his wife, Gwen, while both were teaching in Nebraska. The couple have 2 children, Hope and Gus.
Wow.
Yes.
That should tell you all you need to know.
Hope and Gus. In her statement announcing Walls as a running mate, Harris noted how the Walls family struggled with years of fertility challenges and had their daughter Hope through reproductive health care like IVF, further cementing his commitment to ensure all Americans have access to murdering babies. You know, with his struggle to have children, he stands up for women's rights to kill their own.
Yes. That sounds
It's a perfect comparison. Yeah. I mean, like fertility drugs and murder drugs or abortion drugs. Like I can see how she's like, since he struggled so hard, he knows what it's like to want a child so bad that somebody else should kill theirs.
Right. Yeah.
He lost a lot of kids, you know. He lost a lot of kids accidentally, stillborn. So he knows what it's like to have a stillborn baby in your arms.
He says it's not that big of a deal.
It's fine. He's been through it. He's like, I don't see what the big deal is. So he tossed his kid aside and voted for abortion.
Tuesday night for him.
Tossed his kid aside and voted for abortion. Oh, it all makes sense. I see the math she's doing there, the mental gymnastics she's doing there. She's like, oh yeah, he's a strong supporter of reproductive health because he knows what it's like to lose children.
You know, if killing babies is reproductive health, then yeah, life is death. They're just two sides of the same coin. You know, it's all reproductive health.
Yes, exactly. Walls' political career. He led Minnesota's first congressional district in the U.S. House of Representatives from 2006 to 2019 before a successful gubernatorial run. Who came up with that word?
That's the worst word.
During his time as governor, Walls experienced several major crises. I feel like he contributed to several major crises. In his first term, he faced harsh criticism from Republicans amid the dual dilemmas of COVID-19 and the violent uprising that followed. Oh, they're calling it a violent uprising now?
Yeah. It was nonviolent. It was a nonviolent
When
protest.
did we switch that?
It was violent yet mostly peaceful, obviously.
But they
minimal murder.
Never violent.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we had
as far as violent uprisings go, it was one of the more tame violent uprisings, you know?
Not nearly as violent of an uprising as J6, obviously.
No, nothing competes to that.
Not even close. His use of emergency powers, mask mandates, and business shutdowns during the pandemic outraged his critics, as did his perceived delay. That was the word. His perceived delay in activating the National Guard. You know, it kind of looks like he's delaying activating the National Guard when he said, "I'm not going to do that yet." The perception is that he kind of delayed activating.
Again, it's odd how it looked exactly like what it was.
Yeah, it's amazing how that works, isn't it? His perceived delay in activating the National Guard to help restore order on the Twin Cities during the unrest, which drew the ire of then-President Donald Trump. During his successful 2022 re-election campaign against GOP candidate Dr. Scott Jensen, who was banned from social media for spreading misinformation, which misinformation was
right? Ivermectin.
Was it the misinformation that vaccines are
crap?
Are the right thing?
From social media for spreading dangerous, very truthful things.
Yes. Yes. Waltz consistently defended the hard decisions he made during the pandemic. That's how you know people are stupid, because in 2022, he's like, I stand by literally locking you in your house and having your kids and neighbors snitch on you.
Yeah.
I stand by everything we did because it was necessary. And socialism, what looks like socialism to some, is neighborliness to others. And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Let's vote for you again.
Yeah.
And it probably didn't help that they banned the other guy from social media. He went on to defeat Jensen by nearly 200,000 votes, leading to his second term as governor that coincided with Democrats taking back the reins of the state Senate to control both chambers as well as the governor's office. Since Democrats trifecta power in state government, Waltz has signed several progressive policy wins. Depends on your definition of win. Into law, including legislation of recreational marijuana. Okay, that's kind of a win. Protection of abortion access in the state, free school meals for all children, clean energy benchmarks, and a red flag law that gives state courts the power to legally confiscate guns from residents who pose a risk to themselves or the government. Or others.
Right.
So what do you think about this guy?
Trash.
It's America's dad.
Yeah, right. Hence the nickname Tampon Tim.
Yeah. Okay, now that we're past what CBS News says about him,
yes,
let's talk about who he really is. What the fuck is Tampon Tim?
Apparently, he passed a law that put tampons in boys' bathrooms.
If not him, then who would?
It's true. Somebody's got to take that step for liberty.
I guess.
For freedom. The freedom to have free tampons. Freedom, free tampons.
I mean,
free to bleed, baby.
Men's restrooms.
Free to bleed.
What are the taxpayers paying for tampons in the men's restroom? Do those have expiration dates too?
That's a good question.
I know women, Mrs. Smots.
Of all the people of all the things to be concerned about being our tax dollars going towards, this is definitely up there on my list of concerns. But
yes,
that extra $5.97 is
per
breaking the bank.
I was going to say per person, but how?
Now, I personally have other issues with putting tampons in the boys' restroom. But
obviously, I'm starting. Look, I'm starting with the taxpayer dollars and working my way up. Okay,
speaking to the people. Yep.
Yes. All right. Voice your concerns. Go ahead and voice your concerns about putting the tampons in the boys' bathrooms. That goes beyond the $5.97, which I'm guessing the women, all our lady viewers here, are going to be like, bitch, they're not $5.97. They're like $9.56.
So those are the lady ones because they're more expensive. That's the she tax or whatever the fuck they call it. The lady tampons are more expensive than the man tampons because the man tampons don't exist. But
super absorbent.
There are reasons to put tampons in a boys' restroom. We all know that.
Bloody noses.
What?
Bloody noses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clogging sinks.
Bloody noses, clogging sinks. Also, fun fact, if you take a tampon and drench it in some sort of alcohol, you with me on this?
Boofing? You're going boofing on this.
I mean, there are legitimate reasons to put tampons in the boys' restroom. Are we making life more fun for them? Or what are we doing here?
Are you willing to fork over the $5.97 taxpayer dollars to support somebody's boofing habits, though?
Yes.
Do you know what boofing is?
Of all the things that my tax dollars go towards, trans boofing in the men's restroom is what I stand by.
Bill here is a Gen Xer. He does not know what boofing is, so please explain what boofing is.
I started to, but you cut me off. So you take the tampon and you soak it in some sort of alcohol. I feel like you could probably fill in the blanks or the gaps on your own.
I got it. Yeah.
All right.
I got it.
You insert it places.
To finish my sentence, you can fill in the gaps on your own.
Alcohol faster
than drinking it.
you're drinking it. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. Mrs. Smots says, "Don't do it, Dan," with 4 exclamation points.
I knew what you were getting into. She just knows what I do on the weekends. That's all. I'm an avid boofer.
What she failed to say is, "Don't do it again tonight, Dan."
Don't do it right now on the live stream, Dan.
They don't need to see the side of you that I have to see.
There's a reason why the camera only goes down to yay high. You don't want to know what I'm doing down here.
There's a reason he's getting drunk really fast too.
That's right.
Oh man, so this guy, and I was not aware of his nickname, Tampon Tim, but now that's what I will forever call him because it's more memorable than Tim Walls, balls to the walls. Apparently, this guy has been nothing but a disaster for Minnesota, as you can see here, based on his track record, based on all the shit he did during COVID.
Yes.
Let's just
based
pull
on
up
other things they've said. You heard the list. You know what they are. Trust me.
Based on that, I'm going to pull
Really
up
bad things.
his massive. Tim Walz is accused of massive overreach as VP pick.
Once again, it appeared as though he did exactly what he did.
Yes, I mean this is New York Times, so I feel like they'd be the most outspoken. But still, the fact that they're like, oh, he's accused of massive. No, that was just a thing that he did.
Yeah.
It's not just an accusation. Like there's hard evidence that he was massively overreaching. Now, to be fair, Donald Trump was a massive overreach during the COVID thing. I can't even call it COVID crisis anymore. And this is again, we're circling back to the beginning of our show because our first show was COVID. Well, our first show ended up being George Floyd.
Right,
it was going to be COVID.
One for COVID.
We recorded one for COVID, and then George Floyd kicked off that night,
Yeah.
and we're like, all right, we got to do this again. But this is like a circle back
Still the
because
time, as he does. And little did he know that time was worth no more than that $20 bill that he stole too.
Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, is the fucking reason we started this show.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Is because of all this massive government overreach, all this all the freaking social media censoring, all that shit that happened during that. Tim Walz is one of, I want to say single-handedly is responsible, but he's one of the primary responsibilities for us having this shitty ass podcast in the first place.
Along with Newsom, Cuomo, Whitmer. Yeah, he's one
Donald
of the main
Trump
guys.
even.
Yeah.
I mean, like we can't talk about one without, like when we get into his military record, we talked about how he retired like conveniently 3 weeks before going to like his whole unit went to Iraq. What and I feel like it's a bold step for Vance to call him out on this shit. Yeah, Vance was a military guy.
Yeah.
Served in the Marines, I think. Was it the Marines?
Yeah, it was Marines.
But the guy that he's running with, it's a known fact that he sidestepped.
Yeah.
He dodged because of what, bone spurs or something.
I think that was
So it's just a bold step for Vance to be like, that guy's a military dodger, and he's like running with a military dodger. So just all these things, it's just like Donald Trump's not much better. COVID tyrant. See,
Right.
Donald Trump's not much better. Vaccine stance. Yeah, Donald Trump definitely wasn't much better on that either. Governor Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, accused of massive overreach as VP picks COVID record slammed by critics.
One big way that Donald Trump is better is that nobody's calling him Tampon Don for good reason.
That is true. I mean, the worst thing they got against him to make fun of Donald Trump is calling him the Don, and I don't even think that's not even clever.
Yeah, that's not.
It's
that's
like
not
the
really an
Don.
insult.
And like back in 2016, that was the first time he ran, right? Was that 2016 or 20?
Yeah,
2016.
His first full election.
Yeah, they're like the Don.
Yeah.
It's like that's not even a.
Yeah,
it's like you're reaching too hard here.
Yeah.
Mrs. Smott says false. I'm not sure what that's in response to, but it's false.
There were several things you said.
Derek says I can't wait till.
I might take a pee break soon and tag her in for a few minutes, and she can share all her thoughts.
You should. She is welcome to join. And I know she has thoughts. Like last time you were on the show, I could hear her. Like I could hear her wanting to say.
Oh yeah, she was in the room then.
She was just like I could hear it squeaking out of her mouth. Like she's just like something needs to happen here. It's like when you're not. No offense, Mrs. Smots. When you're like trying to like teaching your dog not to bark and you can just hear it like coming out. And I could hear it like coming out of her. It's just like She just wants to say something. She has things in there. I know it.
Ironically, we just got a new puppy, and very, very topical. Your reference.
She also said, "Who gives a fuck?" And I don't know what that refers to either.
It's all in real time, my love. Keep up. Fast forward.
Derek says, "I can't wait."
It doesn't help that was 2 minutes ago that was posted, and you didn't read it until just now. But
I'm sorry. Derek says, "I can't wait till the borders are finally goes down on the walls." I mean, brings down the wall. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz will have to defend draconian decisions and glaring errors he made as a state leader. No errors. Glaring errors are like, oops, I screwed that up.
Yeah.
This is like intentional, like freaking.
She said, "I don't give a fuck that Trump didn't serve," and I agree with her that wholeheartedly.
I don't either. I don't give a fuck.
Every draft dodger more than any serviceman.
I do too, and I don't give a fuck that Walz decided. You know what? I don't want to go to Iraq. I am up for retirement. Deuces, bitches. I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't fucking. And I served in the military, and I don't care. So, but all I'm saying is the fact that Vance was like, oh, he's a what he called him, like a valor. What do they call it?
Stolen valor.
Stolen valor guy, and it's just like,
I don't
like Trump had bad feet and he didn't care. Good on him, I guess, whatever. But I don't give a shit either way. I just think it's funny that Vance would choose that thing to point out about this guy. Anyway, where was I? Tim Walz will have to defend his errors that he made as a state leader in COVID pandemic after being selected by Kamala Harris Tuesday as the 2024 Democratic vice presidential candidate. Walz, who is 60, was one of several Democratic governors accused of massive overreach and wielding executive power to shutter schools, businesses, and churches during the once-in-a-generation pandemic. Once in a generation so far. Pandemic.
They've already said that.
They're already
because we're not
one.
wearing our masks and we're not getting our vaccines. We're getting ready to kick it off again.
Did you hear Dr. Fauci has COVID for the third time?
Yeah, great vaccine. Great vaccine.
Minnesota governor in 2020 even set up a hotline through which law enforcement received more than 10,000 emails from residents snitching on neighbors ignoring lockdown measures during the first year of the pandemic. You've got to be a really shitty neighbor. I mean, it's one thing for for this governor to set up this snitching hotline. It's another thing for you to pick up the phone and be like, "Oh yeah, I just saw this guy order a pizza." No, he brought home takeout. That's like black market takeout.
Him and his kids were outside playing with some other kids.
I saw him hug grandma yesterday.
Yeah, right.
So then what did they do? Did they like send in the COVID police? Like what happened?
I don't know. Did they have a task force?
Something. I don't know.
I mean, from what I heard, this guy's retirement home like fatality
was almost as high as New York.
Yes.
That's what I heard too. And selecting Minnesota governor, the Harris campaign on Tuesday touted his dedication to countering Republicans who want to roll back America's rights, saying he has stood up for fundamental freedoms in the past. Yeah. Right.
Well, and he's got a quote saying that that the First Amendment does not protect against disinformation, so we should be able to silence.
Standing up for America's freedom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Freedom to hear disinformation. That's what that was.
Yes,
standing up for America's freedom to not hear wrong information. Yes. But that's exactly what the lawmakers and civil liberties groups have accused him of not doing during COVID years. From overseeing the largest COVID-19 fraud scheme in the country, to asking neighbors to tattle on one another for violating lockdown mandates, to forcing hospitalized COVID patients back in their nursing home facilities, Tim Walz proved during the pandemic he does not have the competency to lead during a time of crisis, says House Majority Whip Tom Emmer. Like the rest of his tenure as governor, Walz's pandemic response was a complete and utter failure. What the hell is happening? It says, this guy is weird. The backlash came mostly from Republican lawmakers and conservative groups, but even Democrats in the state legislature were voting against Walz keeping his emergency powers based on his performance close to 1 year into the crisis. In 2020, Governor Walz unilaterally closed places of worship, schools, and businesses for several months, infringing on the rights and freedoms of Minnesotans under the guise of emergency powers. A spokesperson for the Upper Midwest Law Center told the Post in a statement, his heavy-handed approach during COVID-19 demonstrated a troubling disregard for constitutional freedoms and the rule of law. The Federal District Court of Minnesota overruled his shutdown of churches in the Northland Baptist case, and the resulting settlement required him to refrain from any further discrimination against churches in his COVID-related orders. Despite the ruling in our case, the rep added, Governor Walz continues his same pattern of overreach, disregard of constitutional protection, and lack of respect towards fellow Minnesotans. With classrooms closed, average reading and math scores dropped from 4th and 8th grade students between 2019 and 2022. There were also hundreds of millions of dollars wasted on various COVID relief efforts. No shit. Some of which fraudsters abused. It says the Department of Labor found that Minnesota overpaid roughly $34 million in unemployment insurance to state applicants from July 2020 to June of 2023. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of tampons you could be putting in bathrooms.
Yes. How many boys went without?
A shocking $250 million scheme that also took place on Walz's watch allowed a Minneapolis nonprofit pocket federal funds to Minneapolis nonprofit, quote unquote, to pocket federal funds paid to the Minnesota Department of Education, ostensibly for the feeding of needy children. So this is a fund to feed needy children.
Yeah.
Remember, he came out with that like free lunch plan.
Yes.
And now this is like feeding those kids.
Yeah.
Operators of this nonprofit called Feeding Our Future instead use taxpayer money for their luxury lifestyle, including buying lavish cars and real estate holdings as far away as Turkey and Kenya. Why are they buying real estate in Turkey and Kenya? Have they ever been to Kenya?
Probably not. But they probably have people that worked for them feeding those hungry kids.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, and they decided to buy cars instead of give the food to the kids.
Okay, all right. What do you think all that like free lunch money's going?
It's going to their lunch.
Probably cars.
Cars and
yachts and stuff. When he tried to shirk responsibility, Walz was swiftly rebuked by a district judge who determined the state education department voluntarily funded the fraudsters without taking heed of serious deficiencies in its oversight. Like disgraced New York Governor Cuomo, Walz also caught flack for contributing. What?
I'm gonna pee. Enjoy.
Hello.
Hi.
Are you joining? This is the often spoke of in the last 20 minutes, Mrs. Smots.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good.
Do you have things to say?
Well, I mean, I think that we are heavily glossing over the fact this man is an actual socialist.
Define actual socialist versus non-actual socialist.
How much Hitler do you want to talk about?
Oh, like a national socialist? All the Hitler. Let's talk about all the Hitler.
No. He's not the good kind of socialist. Like, he's not the Hitler kind. And I'm sorry, I'm not wearing makeup. I just got out of the shower.
We're
So
not either. Yes.
I look like crap. No, he's an actual socialist. Like Marx, Engels.
Like Karl Marx, like communist socialist.
Yeah, I mean, he won't claim communism, but he'll talk to you all about Marx, and he can quote the Communist Manifesto. I mean, so can I, but we're talking about an actual socialist who transes kids.
So that's what's interesting to me is how the actual socialists won't claim communism because it's like it's got a stain on it.
Oh yeah, right.
The Joseph Stalins and
you can't
you can't claim communism because you're like, no, there's a difference between communism and socialism, and we're socialists. But Karl Marx, on the other hand, he was a really good dude.
He was a good thinker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like this is a bad dude. Like this and Kamala Harris, like welcome to socialism.
Yeah, it's a horrifying combination when it comes to like he wants like the policies he had, like he has his name actually on versus the policies that I'm sure he wants. I'm sure
Correct.
it goes much further. But his name is on like all the Green New Deal shit that AOC was all about and stuff. Like he has made it written into law that Minnesota will be carbon free by 2040. Like it's the law. It's written into law, which we all know that's just a big fucking money laundering scheme on its own. And I don't know, like, go into details. Tell us what you know about this guy. I don't know a ton about him. I didn't know much about him until today, actually.
Well, I mean, his
like his policies. Like what policies does this dude support that's like blatant communism?
Like whatever you know about Gavin Newsom, he's the same dude.
Just older and whiter.
Yeah, gender affirming care for anyone without parental consent, without parental knowledge, no age limits. I mean, and that's my big like social issue with him.
Yeah.
Also, like, he does not have a cap on abortion. Like, so we're talking 8th, 9th month abortions. It's fine.
Jesus.
It's
so
cool. Like this
all the things that Biden stood up on the stage and was like, no Democrat supports that stuff. No, that's malarkey, man, dude.
Well, it's not. I mean, we have absolute evidence of the governor of Virginia who supported it. Not governor anymore. Gavin Newsom has no cap for abortion. I mean, any blue state. It's.
But the things they say on stage, though, that's what matters. Not their actual policies that they sign.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to forget about that. That's just hearsay. You know, their signature on a piece of paper, that means nothing.
Right.
No, like nobody is pushing for late term abortions. That's just crazy. And it's just like there's so many states that are pushing for late term abortion. So many blue governors that are pushing for late term abortion. And like that's the amazing thing about politics. Like we used to know, like we always knew politics were lying, but now it's just like lying when there's so much evidence against it. It's like you don't see those things that you're seeing.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I will buy Trump and Vance's lies all day long over this.
Yeah.
Like I will walk around in my Trump Vance shirt, and I do. And side note, when I lived in Ohio, JD Vance was 45 minutes away from me. So when he wrote his book, the university that I worked for, he was nominated for an award for it. So I've read this book. Like I know where he comes from. I don't trust him, obviously. I trust him a fuck of a lot more than any of this bullshit.
And balls to the walls.
Oh God.
Monster.
This is not even a close call for me. And this all the libertarian bullshit, like, well, it's NODA then. Well, great. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I don't want to pay $4 for a gallon of gas. Like, my son called me the other day and he's like, Mom, you are not going to believe how much I just spent at the grocery store. And I'm like, oh, do tell. I don't live on the planet, you know? And like, this 22-year-old is telling me, and I'm like, no, I don't care that Trump loves the Jews. I don't want to pay $5 for bread. Stop it.
It's not like, well, that the bottom line is like people can be like, oh, Trump's pro-Israel, pro-Zionist. It's everybody on Kamala's a pro, or I don't know about Kamala, but I know Walz is pro.
She is. Of course she is. Without any question.
They have to be.
Chase Oliver. I mean, the fucking libtard fag. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know if that's offensive on this one.
Hey, this might be our last show, so it doesn't. You can say it all you want.
Well, I heard it might be your last show, and that's when I decided I should talk about Hitler.
Yes, please do.
But well, he wasn't wrong, and like Tim Walz is a great example of why he was not wrong. Like, do some research on Weimar Germany. I think I did this last time I was on this show, but I was drunk.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's probably. We probably were too.
That's true.
Your mom's not watching this, is she?
I
She
don't
might
know.
be.
She may be.
Oh,
She may not
God.
be. I don't know.
I don't.
That's
I
fine.
don't hate the Jews. Oh Jesus!
I don't hate the Jews either, but there's definitely
some
a lot
questionable. There's some questions there.
There's a lot more than questions there that
Yeah.
I haven't even brought up on the show, and maybe our final show will just be like all
Craig
those questions.
Unplugged.
Yes, but yes, there's a lot of things. Like I don't know what the I'm not going to get into the whole denial thing, but I don't know. I feel there's a lot of propaganda absolutely around that. I don't even know if I buy that Hitler was who they all say he was at this point. I don't know. I just don't know. Because I see Netflix is chock full right now of how bad of a dude Hitler was. I don't know what it is right now. It's just like hunting Hitler or Hitler and Nazis.
There's a real good documentary called oh fuck.
Is this the one that got that sports guy?
Oh, I bought that book.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet, but I did buy that book.
It's a documentary about the genocide of the Germans after World War II, like of civilian Germans.
Oh.
Candace Owens just talked about it. I'll have Dan text it to you.
Oh, she's a Nazi. She's a Nazi.
I love her so much. I can't even anymore. Like now that Ben Shapiro doesn't own her, she's amazing.
Well, good. Good. I'm glad she got away from Ben Shapiro.
Definitely.
Everybody should get away from Ben Shapiro, especially Michael Knowles. Like he's better than that. But yeah, I'm going to end on this because Dan's telling me to. For that 6 million number to be true, they would have had to incinerate a Jew every 9 seconds for the entirety of the war, eradicating exactly 1/3 of the entire world population of Jewish people. That statistic cannot be. Also, have you ever seen a tattoo that goes beyond 5 numbers?
That is a good point.
Really
How about that?
Huh. Interesting. Maybe did they recycle numbers after some die? They kind of like an NVR.
Give that
like
one.
we start re-recording over it.
That could be.
Started tattooing at 10 years old. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Might have to look into that.
There's a lot of things that I'm gonna have to look into now, but you just raised so many more questions in like the 20 seconds. You've piqued my interest in the last 4 minutes more than Dan has in the last 30 years, 35 years of his life existence, 36 years of his
36.
existence.
He's an old man.
Yes. So thank you for that enlightenment. Jump back on later if he gets boring again.
All right. Bye.
All right, bye. Dan, where'd you go? So, man, that took a side trail.
Yeah.
She's like, speaking of walls, did you hear about Hitler? Let me tell you about Hitler.
Yeah.
Dan has more to drink, so he'll pee again.
Everything she just said, and that's why the 19th Amendment, in her words, should be.
It's true. The good news is you're drinking again, so you'll have to pee again, and she'll have to jump back on.
What?
Did you hear? I said the good news is you're drinking again, which means you'll have to pee again, which means she'll get to come back on.
Oh, I'm not going to be here that long. Don't you worry.
So we took a rabbit trail there from walls to Hitler and all over it.
Everything leads back to Hitler. Just for some, it's quicker than others.
Some is just like, did you hear the one about Hitler? That's fine. That's fine. Where were we? Oh, talking about we just got done reading that article about Walls and his freaking authoritarian COVID regime.
Yes. And I looked up the stolen valor thing. Apparently he's claiming that he is a sergeant major, but he never went through the training. He retired before he got sergeant major.
See, no, that's not necessarily. It depends. I don't know how the National Guard does it because I was a sergeant and I never went to sergeant's course, right? Because I got out before I did. But that's not stolen valor in the Marines anyway.
Right.
I didn't go through the sergeant's course because they're like, we're not sending you there because you're getting out. So,
Right.
but I still, if you look me up online, I actually would be considered a staff sergeant because they'll bump you up if you're like in inactive reserve so long. They'll bump you up with your peers. So,
gotcha.
I don't know how the National Guard does that.
I
but,
don't either. I was just reading that letter from his superior that was kind of slamming him.
Yeah,
so.
he was like,
she was right to jump straight to Hitler because this is boring. But continue.
well, you came back and it got boring all of a sudden. Like I said before you came back. I think it's fair to say this guy is super progressive. Is that a fair stretch?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you pair that with Kamala and then her saying the Green Deal is a good thing and that we should sign executive orders to take guns and all that good shit. You know,
the catchy catchphrase. That's. I mean, I feel like that's the only reason she made him her pick. She's like, I like that. He's like, you can't use that one unless you make me your pick. And she's like, God damn it.
Catchy catchphrase?
That's weird. Remember we talked about it. That's weird. It's weird.
It's all over the mainstream media, you know.
Yes. Like even when we get into the horse stuff, the article that I had read about the debunked horse stuff and how Vance is calling out this horse stuff, their very first comment after saying it was, isn't that weird? I'm like, I see you've jumped on that bandwagon too. This is the AP saying how Tim Walz became beloved by young voters with his message that the GOP is weird. Beloved by young voters because he came up with such a freaking creative slogan as
that's weird. Wow.
Just weird.
They're lame. They're totally lame wads. They're dorks.
So this was his comment. He said, these are weird people on the other side. They want to take books away. They want to be in your exam room. The message started with news interviews and eventually spread like wildfire across social media with the help of young Americans. The simple terminology of labeling the other side as weird or odd is not revolutionary or sophisticated. That's an understatement.
Right.
In American politics, but represents a new framing for Democrats who have spent the last 8 years trying to defeat Trump and Trumpism by personifying him as the greatest threat to democracy. Walz went back to the reference at his first rally Tuesday with Vice President Kamala, saying of Republicans, these guys are creepy and yes, just weird as hell. The opposite of normalizing authoritarianism is to make it weird, to call it out, and to sort of mock it, says Jennifer Mercisa, a historian. I mean, she's got a degree, so it's right. At Texas A&M. She says, to say, hey, that's a weird thing you're doing, calling your opposition enemies instead of saying that they're good people who have different policy preferences. Now the party is turning the page with a new generation of candidates trying to feel...
In fairness, isn't it the Republicans' fault for not capitalizing on this weird thing a long time ago? Because if it has this kind of effect, like they were the ones who should have, if they like, there's something amazing about the Democrats' ability to collectively come up with these catchphrases and just mass produce them in their NPC drones. The GOP doesn't seem to have that ability. If they did,
it's true.
They could have easily started this instead of like, abortion is murder and this and that, and transing your kids is wrong and it's whatever. It's like, bro, that's fucking weird. Like nobody ever said that's fucking weird. Don't do that. That's weird. I mean, yes, it is worse than that, and that's quite an understatement. But if they wanted to utilize it, they should have done so. Like they let the Democrats get them to it again.
At the surface level, at least. It's just a little fucking weird that you want to like dance half naked in front of my kids. It's a little fucking weird that you want to put boys in the girls' bathroom. Yeah. We'll start there and see where it goes from here. But at minimum, it's weird.
Yeah.
Now, Can you just imagine, if you would, all the Democrat like marketers, because you know they hire marketing teams for their campaigns, that were just like, dude, we're gonna call him Hitler.
Yeah.
We're gonna call him an authoritarian. We're gonna embrace this grab her by the pussy thing and this Russia stuff. And then all of a sudden, this Tim Walz stands up and he's like, these Republicans are weird, and everybody's like, retweet. And these marketers that have been paid billions probably by now, they're just like, are you fucking kidding me?
Weird.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He's weird.
Yeah.
That's what you came up. That's what went viral. We've been calling him Hitler for years, and you say he's weird, and that went viral.
Yeah.
It does kind of sound like a committee decision. Like we worked our way. Like if you bring a piece of art to a committee for them to vote on and decide on, they'll pick it apart until it gets all the way down to this, just like the simplest basic nothing that we can possibly pass by to get under everybody's radar. Everybody was fine with weird, so we went with weird.
Let's see. Derek says, have you seen the infamous couch? Are we talking about Vance's couch?
I don't know. Does Vance have a couch?
Vance apparently fucks couches, according to.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the infamous couch we're referring to?
He did fuck his couch, didn't he?
I mean, that's supposedly debunked too, but Dan, please, this is your time to shine. Tell us about. Yeah, couch or horse. That's the name of this next segment is called Couch or Horse.
Yeah, if only the show was going to stick around for another episode, you could have started off a segment that would have got people to stick around.
Now, tell me, was this referencing couch or horse? This vice presidential candidate was hospitalized for the overindulgence of, was it couch or horse?
Wait, are you asking me which vice president or between couch or horse? Because it can't be both.
A vice president.
I'm saying Vance couch and Walz horse. That's my guess.
Okay, one of the vice presidential nominees was allegedly hospitalized for the overindulgence of either A, couch, or B, a horse. Which, what's your final answer?
They are equal.
This is both.
This is couch.
Was
Vance
couch or horse?
That's the game. What
was Vance hospitalized for it?
Yeah,
because the rumor has it that Walz was hospitalized for overconsumption of horse semen.
What?
You haven't heard this one?
No,
How have you not heard this?
I've read the headlines and they seem similar to the couch headlines, to where I'm like, I'm gonna wait a bit before digging into this too deeply and putting too much stock into it. But if you've got the scoop on the horse semen story for Walz, I am all about it. My show's not for 2 days.
Apparently, it's a lie. It's a lie. Apparently, like it never happened. Huffington Post. So Donald Trump Jr. apparently is spreading this weird and gross lie. You see where they're going with this? They're jumping right on. Even in the headline, they're using weird. My thing is not moving, which is unfortunate. I can't scroll, and now I got a spinny thing. You can't see my spinny thing.
I know all about the spinny thing.
So it says the former president's son only managed to remind people why the Minnesota governor called the GOP weird in the first place. Now, the fun fact of this is, yes, he came out and perpetuated this rumor. What is happening? That Walz indulged, and that's weird that the GOP would do this. But wasn't it the left first that perpetuated the rumor that Vance likes to have his way with couch cushions?
Yes, I believe that's.
And what is weirder, to be honest? Fucking a couch cushion or overindulging on horse semen?
The horse.
Who
Dan, what's your opinion? Are you there?
Couch? Yes. Am I here?
Right?
I mean, yes, you are.
Oh, I think there's a major
My
delay.
page is like freezing up.
Back.
All right. He's leaving and coming back. Let me close some of these tabs out because we're probably not going to get to any of them. I don't even know if we're going to get into the wars. I just
That's
fine.
fine.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about wars.
It's there. You know, everybody knows it. It sucks. It's probably gonna be there for the next 10 years.
Yes.
So,
closing things.
if Kamala gets in, it'll be there for 25 years.
Yeah. These perpetual wars still exist. Dan is
And they
here
always will.
somewhere.
Is that what that beep was, Dan?
That was him coming up. Yeah.
Walls
Yeah.
looks like a horse guy.
He does look like a horse guy. I did see an article that said Walls is so masculine that Republicans are afraid.
Tampon Tim?
What the fuck does that even mean? Like, there's a video or like an image of him like fishing, and like, dude, and I can understand that.
Yeah.
Like, what's the best defense against manly Republicans than bringing in a manly guy? And they're like,
Right.
this guy fishes too much, and he like. Donald Trump Jr. attempted to spread a really weird and really gross lie about Tim Walz on Thursday, but only managed to remind people why Minnesota governor called the GOP weird in the first place. It all started when the former president's firstborn son took to X, formerly Twitter, if you got to keep calling it formerly
How
Twitter,
long has it been now?
just fucking change it back to Twitter. If we got to keep reminding people what X means,
yeah,
it's not working.
Right.
With a post spoofing the Got Milk ads with a photo.
Yes.
I don't know if I have a delay. Okay.
Yes, we do.
Three. Say one on
All right.
one. 3, 2, 1.
1, 2, 1.
What?
Exactly.
Okay.
Just listen and jump in when you can. Just don't interrupt. With the post spoofing the Got Milk
when
ads.
I can and don't interrupt. It's a great idea.
Okay, first of all,
I'll try to keep my thoughts
I mean,
to
it's
myself
genius.
For the most part. It's the best thing for
It's
for guests to do
genius.
on a show. Show's going great. I hope it lasts forever.
It must be the delay that keeps causing you to blatantly
Definitely the delay.
interrupt
Yep.
me.
It's been 6 years of delay. Is that what we're blaming?
I think so, yes. Post spoofing the Got Milk ads with a photo of Walls with a milk mustache and a horse in the background. I mean that's genius.
Yeah,
kinda.
it's funny.
Not following? Yes, we're definitely following. You don't have to explain in detail, but sure. Well, ever since Walls mocked Republican vice presidential nominee
an
JD
article
Vance,
that it was hard to follow before they said
yes,
they had to really break this down further.
see now. Here's where Huffington Post is weird.
Yeah.
Because the headline said it was weird that he would bring up this gross thought. But then they go on to say, ever since Walls mocked JD Vance with a reference to the satirical but false internet meme that claimed the hillbilly elegy author wrote about having sex with a sofa, Trump toadies have been trying to get even. So it's weird for him to come back on the defense and be like, well, he drinks horse semen. That's weird.
Right.
But for Walls himself, it wasn't like Walls like supporters, if that's even a thing.
Yeah.
Walls himself's like, hey, did you hear that thing about him fucking a couch?
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, you drink horse semen. And they're like, whoa, dude. That's weird.
Why would you say that? That's the weirdest thing ever to bring that up.
That's weird. For some reason, somebody decided to combat the false couch sex claims by claiming Walls enjoys drinking horse semen. It's not for some reason. It's like, you said this thing about me.
Response to the thing that you did. It's not any weirder
Right.
than the thing you did if it's a response to the thing you did. Yes, it's amped it up a bit, going from fucking a couch to drinking horse jizz, but you know, it's making up shit.
For
It's
some reason, they just went there.
Yeah.
Yes, that's literally what it is.
Slinging something.
Yes, semen slinging. There's
So
the ad
question.
there.
I
Love
have
it.
a question. Probably I missed something at some point during this conversation where you've already answered this question, but it's been a bit of a
Probably
shit
not.
show. I'm glad it's ending. But with the horse semen thing, is that a real story, or is it a legitimately disproven story, or is it a story that is true and there's evidence to, but Snopes is saying it's false. Where are we landing on this horse jizz
Well,
thing?
according to Snopes, because the from what I read, they'll probably get into it in this article that he didn't even live in that town. That the hospital, like somebody claims anonymously to have like worked on this guy at the hospital to pump his stomach of all this horse semen, and they're like, he didn't even live in that town at the time, so that's not possible. And so they're like, it's just
it's
not
probably
true.
bullshit. It's probably like somebody made up an
it's
AI
probably
image
bullshit.
of Donald Trump, and then somebody made up a worse AI image of Kamala Harris. Like we're
Most
just
likely
making bullshit up at this point.
Trump Jr. also referenced stolen valor in the post, another GOP attack on Walz about his military. I don't care. Get back to the horse semen. Trump toadies. I like how they call them Trump toadies.
Yeah, of course. The deplorables.
Like Laura Loomer and Joey Manario. Why does this keep jumping?
They're disgusting.
Have been spreading false horse semen stories to their followers. Distractify reports that other Trumpers have created fake news stories incorrectly claiming Walz was caught in the act back in 1995. But if Trump Jr. and other true believers thought their efforts would change hearts and minds back to their fearless leader, they might have been mistaken. One person on Reddit, Ask a Liberal channel, helpfully explained, if that's your strategy, you can go ahead and make up gross stories about Tim Walz.
Okay.
But I wouldn't expect it to work out in quite the same way. Everyone seems to hate JD Vance, while everyone seems to really like Tim Walz. That's a blatant fucking lie.
Yeah, right.
Mean-spirited jokes tend to be easier to swallow when the butt of those jokes is considered an acceptable target. So it was fine against Vance because everybody hates him and he's an acceptable target. But Walz is the everyman dad.
Right.
Midwest dad.
Yeah,
breaking news. Breaking news. On the X live stream with Donald Trump and Elon Musk, they are currently playing the video footage of Tim Walz drinking horse semen. That is something
that is not actual video footage.
It is not, but it's not that not believable in today's day and age that would be something that would be a sentence that could come out of your mouth and it would be true. And I think that's a beautiful thing.
Derek says, listen, I'm not going to my local hospital to get my stomach pumped after guzzling horse jizz. I'm not even going to the next closest hospital. I mean, that's true. I'm just gonna be like, well, I either die or I don't, but I'm not admitting to this.
Clearly, that's your rock bottom. I don't know how you got there or what your story was, but there's no bouncing back from that unless you go on to be vice president of the United States someday.
That is true.
Under Kamala Harris.
That is true. I just think it's hilarious that they're like, it's fine to sling that shit at JD Vance because everybody hates JD Vance and he's an acceptable target. But America's dad, that's unacceptable.
Right. That's weird.
That's weird. Yes. So very weird. So that's the horse story.
Okay. You know who else was
America's if you were wondering. And I know everybody. America's dad.
Bill Cosby.
That one guy.
See how that
turned out? That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. And look how that turned out.
Pretty weird. Pretty weird.
Pretty just slight weirdness there. So Dan, what's your opinions of this tampon Tim? Because your wife seems to be full of them. She seems to know a lot more about him than I do. So I'm sure that you've heard. What's your opinions on the dude?
He's a fucking commie, but it doesn't matter what he is because Donald Trump is going to reign supreme, unless he's full of shit too, which I tend to believe. That's where we differ, and I think he's completely controlled, or at least I lean that way. I think he's the best of the puppets that we have currently, and I am currently the dipshit libertarian Noda supporter that she described so eloquently. I don't know. I'm holding out on this whole Trump savior thing because I don't know about you, but I'm starting to miss QAnon at this point. Like we've got Cat Turd now calling out Kyle Rittenhouse for voting for Ron Paul, saying that he's a betrayer, or calling out Joe Rogan for saying that he likes the man that is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The people who are pushing for Trump now are worse than they've ever been. And QAnon at least gave us false hope.
Right. Like, I mean, that was back in the glory days of podcasting. If
Yeah.
you didn't have anything to talk about that was interesting, you could just go to QAnon and be like, this is a thing that people are talking about. It's probably not true, but it's interesting, and I would like to believe that it's true. But now it's just like you can't even find on Google any fun stories anymore, any like semi-conspiratorial thing. Like, the closest thing to a conspiracy theory that's happened in the last 4 years is Donald Trump getting shot in the fucking ear.
Right.
Which I think might be fake, but go on.
Please elaborate. I mean, I am kind of done with Walls. I said enough about him. The guy drinks horse jizz, and he's a commie, and he supports lockdowns, and he loves tampons.
Yep.
I mean, that's about all there is to say about it.
Yeah.
Please elaborate on the Trump fake thing, because that was Bill's first impression was, I think this was faked.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me start by saying I want to vote for Trump.
You want to?
I want to vote for Trump, and that's why I don't trust it, because somebody really wants me to vote for Trump, and that it's got my my conspiracy antenna all erect, because somebody is creating the perfect story of a man who came from nothing-ish. I mean, he was badass guy who worked his way up through, like, the American dream guy. He was at the celebrity that rappers put into their songs because he was the self-made billionaire in the United States. And then he became president, and we were supposed to hate him all of a sudden, and he was literally Hitler. And then, like the Antichrist, he died, and he was down and out for a while, but then he arose. He even had a suicide attempt, quote unquote, that doesn't really add up at all.
He had a suicide attempt
on his life. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Got it.
Did you miss that?
I missed that one. When was that? Or was that the assassination attempt you were talking about?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, I thought you meant another one. Okay. All right. Old news. Boring. Keep going. Even though that's specifically what I asked you about.
He had an assassination attempt,
Yes.
allegedly. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you noticed that some things don't add up. Have you dug much into it?
I mean, there's quite a few things that don't add up.
The thing that I trust the least is, even in the things that don't add up, they don't add up with each other. Like, nothing adds up with anything. There's no clear picture that can, and there's no, like, official report on any of it at this, to my knowledge.
No official narrative?
Yes, like, the narrative is not even clear. There are people who said that the guy was seen with a ladder, but then when asked again, like, did he climb up with the ladder? No, we don't think he climbed up with the ladder. He was just carrying the ladder around and sat the ladder down, and then he climbed up with a rifle on top of the roof that the Secret Service it was too hot, or it was too slopey, or it was too something for them to secure that spot. And so there's a million.
They saw him 2 hours prior with a rangefinder.
Yes, and that's the thing. Even in the official narratives that are floating around, it's like, well, they saw him like 3 minutes before, or they were told about him 25 minutes before, or it was 3 hours before that they saw a man with a gun who was hovering around a drone over this area. Like, there's so many things that don't make any sense. And then afterwards, Donald Trump comes out and he's like, and the Secret Service are just great. First and foremost, I want to thank the great men and women in law enforcement who did not do their job in any way, shape, or form. The only job that they have was securing that spot, and all of them, like the 6 that were on stage, none of them saw, whether they were told or whether even if they weren't told, it's their job to at least look up there. If you're not going to go up there, at least look up there. But they didn't even do that. And I don't know. I want to believe that it's true. It makes certainly for a more, I don't know which one makes for a more fascinating historical thing to live through. Whether there was an assassination attempt or a fake assassination attempt. But this underdog story has just come to such a head and has been shaken up with. Like, they were trying to keep Biden in there, just keep him alive long enough to make it believable that there's a rivalry between him and Trump. And then I don't know, Kamala comes in at the last minute, and now it's all I don't know. It's very clusterfucky, and I don't trust anybody at this point. I'm not
No.
saying I have a clear understanding of what's going on, but Donald Trump, I feel like Donald Trump wants me to trust him less than the mainstream media and all of his detractors want me to trust him at this point. Their gaslighting is so apparent and flagrant that it makes me hesitant to even resist it. They're all the things that they're saying about Donald Trump, even back to Donald Trump just like 3 weeks ago, Donald Trump is not mentally fit to be president while Joe Biden was on his deathbed, and then they can't push Biden any further, and they're like, oh, well, Donald Trump's fine to be fit to be president, and Kamala Harris is brilliant. Like, just the pendulum swing back and forth has gotten so much faster than it's ever been in our life, and I don't trust any of them.
Yeah,
it's really hard to fucking keep up. And
now Kamala Harris is now calling out Donald Trump for not being tougher on border security. Kamala Harris made an ad that said that Donald Trump is letting people through the border and not doing enough, when she was calling him a racist for doing more than her 5 years ago.
I don't know what the fuck's going on anymore.
That's because nobody's holding anybody accountable.
I don't know who stands for what anymore.
Yeah.
Like, does Kamala Harris and Walz, do they support police? Do they not support police?
Whatever the flavor of the day is, that's what they support.
Do
That's what they all support.
Do they support the borders? Do they not support open borders? I don't know. And then what about what's it? Waitress tips.
Oh, yeah.
Which one supports waitress tips? That's what the real story is today. Because Donald Trump comes out and he's like, you know what, we're not going to tax waitress tips. And Kamala Harris comes out and she's like, you know what, I had that idea first and he stole it from me.
I mean, frankly, I don't care. If it's a good idea, fight over it. Make fight over our vote for once. I feel like minuscule thing like that. Like, I'm glad that they're being that petty, because that means they're actually competing for our vote.
But it really makes me ask the question, where does there's this waitress tip thing. There's a deeper agenda to this. This is where my brain immediately goes. It's like, we stop taxing the waitress tips. Then what? Then what's the then what? Because they're not just going to stop taking our taxes. It's like, then what? We're going to stop. We're just going to ban tips altogether. Or something like that. Or we're going to insist that waitresses now make $28 an hour and raise inflation more. Or there's got to be a then what? Because they're not just going to be like, you know what, we're just going to stop taking tips or the taxes from the tips. Like, we're just going to let people have their money that they make.
No.
Because if that's the case, stop. Why not just stop income tax altogether, too? Why can't we just do that at the same? Isn't it the same fucking thing?
Right. Yeah.
Next, we stop income tax. Then we stop income, and we all just share the same basic income.
Gotcha. That's where this goes.
Because what some people see as socialism, others just see as neighborly. You know?
Yes.
Right.
There's an agenda. It sounds all flowery and stuff like socialism does. Socialism. Oh yeah. The one thing I got out of
brother.
I mean, we had this teacher in high school. Dan, I don't know if you had him at this point or if he was arrested for underage sex at this point.
No, I had him.
Yeah, you had him, Mr. Archer.
Turns out I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, of course you do. One thing. I mean, he was definitely socialist leaning, from my understanding.
He called himself a communist.
He literally called himself a communist. The one thing he said that I took away from all his communist bullshit was, communism works great on paper, and then people get in the way. And he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. It's like, it would
do
be
all
great.
of them.
Yeah, they all look great on paper, and then you get people involved. You get greedy fucking people involved. Communism, like every person's like, well, we've just never had true communism. Define true fucking communism, because we tried it in Venezuela, we tried it in Russia, we tried it in all the Soviet Union, China. I mean, China seems to be the only ones kind of thriving from it, but are Chinese people actually happy?
No.
I mean, they had freaking Tim Balls from Keach High School.
They're happy because it is mandated.
Yeah, they have to be happy.
If they don't show their happiness all the time, then they lose on their freaking social credit score.
Right.
You always see the amazing musicians or whatever that are Chinese, clearly Chinese, or whatever. And it's like, that. Well, I'm talking the prodigies, the child prodigies, and it's like, that kid's parent has not let them do a fucking thing besides play the violin their entire life. They're like, no, you go back and play violin.
Right.
And
it's
that's
just
why
like-
we're losing.
Yeah. I mean,
Sorry.
it's true. They're the most educated, but they're not allowed to even they're not allowed to have fun and ask questions. But maybe that's what we need.
Let me
Maybe
ask you
that's
something,
it.
Craig.
Huh?
In communist China, are women allowed to vote?
I don't know. Are they?
I don't think so.
You ever think about it that way?
I haven't.
Hmm.
Maybe that's why
about
they're
it.
so happy.
Think about it.
Maybe all the women are allowed to vote, and that's why maybe they were allowed to vote until
Well,
and then they voted in true communism.
But that's why you're only allowed to have one kid, and most of them are boys.
That's true. Like kill all the girls.
Yeah, and then
Women are allowed to vote, but we're gonna kill them all.
that 1% can vote.
I support abortion rights as long as it's only the females.
I support abortion rights for women and future women only.
Man. I mean, the show's
You
done.
are welcome to
Right now.
abort yourselves.
Yes, absolutely. Jesus, back to like we jumped so many
I don't
charts.
even know where we're at.
I don't either. I don't either. Back to what you're saying about the Trump thing, though. It's weird. It's weird. There's no other word to describe it, but it's weird. Especially when you get like prominent, like Christian people, like authors that or whatever that wrote. Remember the one guy
God.
wrote that hit song on Instagram
The
that
Chosen.
got like 600 million
Yes,
views.
that's
That
ridiculous.
literally calls Donald Trump
The Chosen one?
Yes,
Oh, that is a
literally.
banger. I've covered that a few times. It's a jam. I listen to that's my alarm clock in the morning to get me hyped for America.
Get out of me.
To have the Chosen One survive an assassination attempt, it just doesn't get more
Perfect.
perfect than that. Yes.
Mythological.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only thing that would have been better at first, they're like, "Let's kill him and raise him from the dead." And they're like,
That must be much.
I
That's
don't
a little
know.
much.
I don't know if I believe I have that much faith.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have that
Get him
much faith.
shot in the head and then have it healed a week and a half later.
Yeah, right. And he's like, I wasn't done.
What was your thoughts on all of them wearing the bandages on their ear too?
Fucking stupid. I support him if you want to. Like, I'm not even saying that I completely disbelieve this complete ridiculous story, but and I want to believe it's true because I want to believe that I haven't been duped into believing that this guy it's if it is all an elaborately orchestrated theater, it's beyond our government because they are not capable of this kind of this level of
It's the Jews.
theater. Wow. Okay. Jeez. Didn't know I was on that kind of show. Good Lord. I don't. What?
He forgot what he was saying.
Puppets. Trump's a puppet. That's what I'm saying. But
Oh,
no,
it's
just very. It's theater. It all feels like theater, and deep down in my gut, it feels like we're just watching something play out. We have no control. We have our vote matters, but it doesn't. And even if it's not, hyperly controlled, what does your vote really matter in all of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do?
What do you think about the Kamala thing?
Which Kamala thing?
Well, her becoming the nominee. I don't think she was supposed to be. I think she leveraged herself in there.
Leverage by leverage on her knees, or
well, maybe. Well, it's Obama, so probably not.
Maybe
Michelle.
I'm still holding out for Big Mike. I really am.
I would love for Big Mike to be the nominee, but
I'm not gonna say Big Mike's not gonna be the nominee until I see the DNC because I still feel like that's coming.
I don't know. I'm not buying that they're going to swap her out. I feel like she is kind of if I'm saying if I'm believing that this is not all completely orchestrated, I think that she is on very thin ice at the moment. She is on trial run. There is another backup in the works, in the waiting. If she does not pull through, I think at best they're like, well, if we put her out there, at worst, if we think that Donald Trump is actually legit and he is actually playing out this elaborately amazing underdog story, there's a very slim to no chance that anybody's going to beat him at this point. So throwing Kamala Harris to him is just like a sacrifice. We don't want to throw out a very valuable Gavin Newsom, Michelle Obama, or a Pete Buttigieg judge to lose to him, because at that point, that whoever goes up against him, it's likely the end of their political career. So Kamala Harris with horse fucker Tim Walz or whatever his name is, and call it a day. That's the least conspiratorial version in my mind.
Right after the assassination, that's exactly what I said. I was like, they've got no, they're not going to throw out their big swingers, their big swinging dicks like Big Mike, because it. And I don't know, there seems to be more steam for the Kamala than I thought there would be.
Yeah.
It's probably all fabricated, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But I was just like, they're going to throw out Kamala so they can be like, either way, that like if they lose, which they most likely would at that point, I saw they can just blame it on Kamala, and they're not going to let her run again. They're like, no, you did so shitty in the last one in that 6 weeks we gave you to try. Why would we run you again? It's just like the throwaway candidate. Like, well, we got no other shot. Throw Kamala in there. Let's not tarnish somebody else's name in a losing campaign.
She didn't have a name to begin with. 0 delegates voted for her when she was running for president. Absolutely 0. And now she's going to become president because democracy works. Great.
Yes.
And nobody appointed her as the nominee. Nobody appointed her to VP, and nobody's going to elect her president.
80 million people will, though.
Yeah.
80 million.
Probably going to break that record in a landslide.
Yeah, because she's the first woman of some color.
Right.
That
pick your color.
We have yet to determine. Oh, I don't know. How do you think this election's going to go? In case we don't get to talk before then, what's this? Give your theories of the next 6 weeks leading up to the election.
You remember when people asked you, what's your 5-year plan? It's a simpler time when you could think that far in advance because shit wasn't so batshit crazy every couple of hours.
That's how this whole fucking podcast has been. We're we predict this is what's happening, and is what'll probably happen. And then the next day, J6 happens. It's like, wow, that didn't pan out how we thought it would at all.
Yep. Yeah, that's why on my show I've gotten to the point of I plan my show 12 hours before the show happens because there's probably going to be something stupid. Even if I plan it that late, which is stressful, as soon as I'm done, Donald Trump, the assassination attempt. So I did my show, and then I had to take a week off because I was going filming for a week-long camp thing. Mm-hmm. And while I was out of town, in that amount of time, Donald Trump assassination attempt, Joe Biden steps down, Kamala becomes the VP, all the major possible things that we've been waiting around for the last 6 months to happen just happened all at once. Yeah. And
I was on vacation. Vacation.
Yeah, you're in St. Louis.
And he texted me, or somebody texted and do you hear somebody tried to shoot Donald Trump? I was like, are you fucking? I just want to ignore this shit for 3 days. That's all I wanted was 3 fucking days.
Yep. And then the fun stuff happens.
So 6 week plan.
6 week plan? I don't know. I think if I'm going non-conspiratorial, Kamala Harris is on thin ice and Donald Trump's going to win in a landslide. But also, I would have definitely predicted that I did predict that Donald Trump would win against Joe Biden, which seems still like a no-brainer versus Donald Trump. And back in 2016, I definitely did not predict that Donald Trump was going to win.
You did not.
You did.
You didn't. I did. The day he went down the escalator, I texted you and was like, Donald Trump's going to take it. And you're like, bullshit. I was like, he's going all the way, man.
Here we are, several presidents later, it would seem. Right. And I still don't know. I'm hesitant to make any predictions on what will happen because they're really pushing this. Kamala Harris is an urban hip soccer mom that has twerking hoes come out to her events and shit. Taylor Swift's gonna endorse her, and that actually matters for some reason. She's gonna get the same blue no matter who people that Joe Biden did, but she is younger and more just physically able to read a teleprompter than Joe Biden ever was. That's all that is required until it comes down to debates. So I'm curious to see how debates go and how rigged those are, because in a debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, it would be pretty obvious based on what we've seen Kamala Harris on the fly able to do, that Donald Trump would take that. Now, whether or not a debate happens, whether or not one of them backs out or somebody else steps into Kamala's place, I don't know at this point what anybody's going to do. If Donald Trump will be assassinated, what if Donald Trump had gotten assassinated? What would the world have even looked like? Who would the Republicans even put up against, at that point, corpse Joe Biden and then Kamala Harris? If it's not impossible that there could be another one of those.
Right.
I think, okay, if I had to put money on something happening,
okay,
I would say that probably Donald Trump is going to win. And if Donald Trump doesn't win, I will be more of a conspiracy theorist than I am currently.
Wow.
Because Donald Trump, the bed has been made for him by the mainstream media for the last forever. For the entirety of you doing this podcast, Donald Trump has been made out to be the villain, and now they're doing a magnificent job as propping him up as this fucking badass hero, while he still just preaches more benign shit than he ever has. He's gotten worse. He's gotten more boring, but still the media makes him out to be such a badass that if it doesn't work, then it's entirely Donald Trump's fault, and everything is a lie.
And the Democrats' defense to that is, that's weird.
Right.
That's what they're going with.
Yep. Seems like they let their defenses down pretty fast.
Yeah.
All together.
That's just weird. It's just weird. So yeah, if he loses, what do Trump supporters do this time? Do they erupt into civil
Probably
war?
fucking nothing like they usually do.
Do they attack the Capitol again? Do we get another J6 out of this?
Does Q arise again?
Better than that.
What would be better?
I can't say on your show unless you want it to be canceled. So,
let's go for it, man.
Just say it.
Genocide.
Whoa.
In which way?
I don't know.
There's
Somebody's dying. Doesn't matter who.
It's fine if you say it in the right context. If it's against people that you don't want to die, but it's not fine against people.
So if I just shout genocide, I should be fine because it's very non-specific. Genocide.
Yes.
Probably. It's probably okay.
Yeah.
Playing it safe. In Minecraft, y'all. The CIA can't decipher that code still.
What, Minecraft?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Oh, okay. They're like, whoa, does not compute.
Yep. Code breaker.
Minecraft, the 8-bit game that just took the freaking 1000-bit world by storm. Minecraft is the thing to bring down the whole system.
To bomb. No, wait. In Minecraft, we need to bomb. Wait, that still seems wrong. I'll probably just save that for my show.
All right. Wouldn't it be something if Minecraft is what it was the key to unlock
everything,
the potential freedoms that this world deserves? It's just like Minecraft was the thing that brought it down. And if you guys just ignore it, it's kind of like MySpace. Like you guys you let down a good thing. You let down 8-bit. Like why did we let down 8-bit? I don't know. Why did we let down MySpace? I don't know. But Minecraft is like, we're coming back with a vengeance, and we're gonna take this shit down.
Fuck Fortnite.
Exactly. I think that's a good place to end this.
No, Minecraft.
Why not?
Yep.
It's not going anywhere.
We talked until we literally had nothing left to talk about but Minecraft. So that's the time to wrap it up. Call it a day.
Bill,
we've run out of topics.
6-week plan, really quick, in 30 seconds or less.
Not this show, am I right?
Damn.
No, I think Trump wins. I think liberals go crazy. They try to impeach him right away.
No, No.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Oh no, they're going for the impeach.
They've already written up.
They
drafts
have
of
more federal
impeachment.
charges coming his way. You know, that kind of stuff.
They've already written up drafts of impeachment
Yeah.
at this point.
They have.
They're just using old tactics.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, probably. I'm still holding out for Michelle. I'm just holding out for Michelle.
I would love for Big Mike to throw his dick in the ring.
Yes.
Honestly.
I mean, Big Mike campaign ad jumping over a pole vault bar.
We all know the one.
Yes. Just superimpose Michelle's face on the pole vaulter, dude.
Didn't he do that on the Ellen DeGeneres show at one point?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, something like that.
Balls?
Just tearing down the bar. Michelle Obama is tearing down the bar.
Raising the bar.
Setting the bar higher.
Just setting the bar, really.
Yes. Something. I don't know. Ew.
We'll workshop it.
We'll figure it out. I'll pitch it to her. Him.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there you go.
You're a Photoshop expert.
Yeah.
Let me see what you come up with.
We'll see how quickly I can cancel myself for your non-show pleasure.
Perfect. I mean, we'll go down together. Ride this ship down. All right. Well, to all, the two of you that have listened throughout the years, it's been a pleasure. We will, like I said, we'll be back. We'll be back at least to like send this thing off, right? And there's a good chance I'll get bored with not doing the show, and I'll be like, that thing that like I got tired of doing. I really wish I could keep doing it, still be doing that thing. And again, I love doing a podcast.
Yeah,
I love talking to people. I love talking in general. If you guys didn't know that, I feel like, aside from life being crazy hectic, a second freaking political, like presidential campaign, it's beat my brain to death.
Yeah,
I'm just tired of reading about it. I get tired of having to go read the same shit to find something, and it's just like it's just all the same bullshit. If something really insane happens in the next few weeks, you bet your ass we'll find a way to get back on here and talk about it. But if it's like Kamala Harris spoke at the Pennsylvania freaking all black college and got a standing ovation, I don't give a shit. I don't. And Dan, who are you voting for? The last question, I promise. Who are you voting for in the presidential election?
Nobody at the moment.
Perfect. Me too. Bill, who are you voting for?
I think right now I'm going Trump.
You're gay.
It's fine. I frankly,
that's fine.
Trump is my first choice of the people that I don't trust. So I don't hold it against anybody who votes that way.
It's sad that you're like Donald Trump over Chase Oliver.
Right. Well,
your own fucking party that you've worked for so many years.
What if during the vice presidential debate, JD Vance brings a horse on stage with him?
JD Vance or Tim?
No, JD Vance for Chris Walz.
Oh yeah, that would be bad on.
Sucks off a horse on stage. Would that make me more likely to vote for him than Tim Walz? Absolutely. That is one of my top priorities in this race.
That only happens in a Waros.
Dance monkey. Who can dance monkey the best? That's really where we're at. We are at.
Yeah.
You're weird. No, you're weird. No, you're a couch fucker. No, you're a horse sucker. It's like, okay, I don't care. You're all retarded. How is this what we've come to as a country, that the best of the best are arguing over who fucked the wrong couch?
Derek says, it's been a pleasure ignoring my family to listen to your podcast over the years. I'm going to play Minecraft now.
Sounds like
literally.
Yes.
Now, I feel like they stop slinging shit with words and start like doing some
Talking
action.
about shit.
No, start doing some action. Like if you like actually bring the horse up there. Actually, it's come to that where it's just like, look, if you're gonna talk it, do it. Like put your money where your mouth is, or the horse's money where your mouth is, and actually go for it. Like let's stop using our words and let's start using actions. Get literally dance on the stage. I want to see like on The Office when what's his name, Kevin is like trying to get them decide whose cookies to buy, and he's making them do all this humiliating shit. Like,
Yeah.
do that shit for me, like crawl on all
Right.
fours, like you know, like
steroids in sports. I want weapons in politics. Let's go fight it out. Whoever is the toughest gets the spot. Don't care if you're
Right.
man, woman, black, white, gay, straight. Roids, weapons, fight. Put them all in a ring. Whoever thinks that they're the smartest, get in a ring, fight it out to prove that you're physically capable too, and just for our entertainment. And then if y'all kill all of yourselves, sorry, I'm getting black. If y'all kill all of yourselves up in that rink, then we can have finally a discussion about who is the most mentally capable, because they wouldn't have gotten in that rink, and we can start looking at the rest of the people around here. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
And we hit rock bottom in American politics this year. Is this rock bottom?
No,
it's going to get worse.
Every time you
Shit.
say it's this, it can't get any worse than this. It
It's always been the bottom of the slope. It's always been rock bottom. It's always been the apocalypse. That's my most hopeful message, is that the world has ended so many times, even within our lifetime, that I'm not buying it just yet. But it doesn't. I don't got much more than that. Hopeful. We're not dead yet. Good job. Go smell the flowers, touch grass, and get off the internet.
Please
stop listening to this, because it's not going to be here anyway.
It's true. Please stop listening to this. Go live your life. Stop fucking around with politics, because nobody cares about you. None of the politicians care about you. They just don't. They just fucking don't. None of them care about you. I care about you to an extent, but I care about myself too. So probably more. Y'all are great. Dan, you're a beautiful man, as Mrs. Smott said earlier.
Thanks. Did you say that?
She is much more. She said he's easy on the eyes.
Oh, okay.
I want to say to you, if this is your last show, and this is the only time I would ever say this, if it is your last show, if it's not your last show, I don't mean anything at all that I'm about to say. If there's even a send-off show after this, I rescind every word that I am about to utter out of my mouth.
Just say in Minecraft.
In Minecraft, Craig, this show has been just very okay for so many years.
That's about probably the best compliment we've got.
We'll take it, Dan.
Of all the podcasts that have tried and failed, yours tried and failed slower than the rest
longest. Tried and failed.
That's just because we're stubborn, Dan.
Long
We're
failure. It was such a drawn out failure that
Stayed
it's almost
together for the-
impressive. It's commendable how long you were willing to hang on to such a piece of shit show, and then you stole my background of my show with the
It looked
newspapers.
like shit
and you
today. I
started
just
talking
noticed
about
too.
news, and then you had such notable guests on as Remzo Martinez and me.
It's true.
And then you ended with, hey, you come back on, because it's gone great every other time that you've been on. And we haven't, in all the years, we haven't found a better guest than you to end this show on. So thank you for not doing better and finding a better guest, because it's been an honor and a privilege to watch you fail so abysmally for so long.
I literally just realized like 4 minutes ago how completely, utterly failing my background even is right now. It's just like
everything is
I don't know. It's all falling apart.
Clean your room, as Jordan Peterson would say. No, it's been fun. Craig, you've been my co-host, and we've done stuff back and forth in many different capacities. And we have some ties that go beyond podcasting, but it has been a pleasure all the times that we hang out and chat about bullshit together and watch the world burn together on either show has been fun. So thank you for having me always, and it's been a good time.
And thanks for coming as always. And it's always a chore to get you on my show. And it's just like, no, I'm not going to do that. And I'm just like, no, you will. And you're like, what time? And I'm like, this time. You're like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then you always show up. You just always fucking do.
This time you're like, can you come on in like 10 minutes? And I was like, why? And you were like, because it's my last show. And I was like, well, I have to. And then I come on, I log on, and you're like, it's not our last show. We'll be back, you guys. It might be next week when shit gets weird, or at least we're gonna come back and party. If
we're like Tom Brady.
Right. Weird things happen. If weird things just happen to happen in the most fucked up timeline of the existence of humanity, if things just happen to get a little odd, we'll be back. So thank you for tricking me and catfishing me into joining your final episode. I will not be here for your actual final episode, but thank you for including me in the trial run. Good night.
Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody. I got to see if there's any more comments because I see two, but my computer is taking a shit. Because why not just not let me do things or even end the show? We might as well
so faster than you are.
It's like, no, you don't want to leave yet, but I do. I really do. Derek says, "You talking about this show or my life in general?" Y'all have been great. If you're listening in the future, which please don't, just don't do that. Find better things to do. But if you are, thanks for listening. Thanks for all your the support throughout the years and just keeping us entertained. Like I hope we kept you entertained. I'm literally like my eyes are watering right now. It's not tears of sadness for the show. It's like because I can't stop laughing. It's like that time we tried to do a joint podcast and we got really high and we just couldn't stop laughing, so we just didn't.
If you still have that somewhere, I can release it in the Downers Club.
It's probably so.
It was a recap of the debate, not even a live coverage. Thank you, thank God.
No, I don't. That just that's how I feel.
You ended
now.
up asleep, I'm pretty sure, and I kept going.
So
check the tape.
I gotta find it. I don't know if that computer still works. It's got to be somewhere. Again, thank you everybody. Thanks Dan. Thanks Bill. This has been a pleasure all these years. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Dan, we'll catch you next time.
You can watch my little whatever show if you feel like it.
Yeah, Dan, please tell us what thing you do that
to both of your supporters. You can watch me if you've never heard of The System Is Down by chance at thesystemisdown.tv, wherever the System Is Downs are sold. We do similar stuff, but it's like way better and much more succinct, much funnier and more enjoyable, has much more longevity, much more liveliness, better guests than this. I mean, this is absolute train wreck, real nightmare. But yeah, you can find me there, and you can find Craig wherever the fuck he lands in life, because it's not going to be on my show when he comes crawling back for forgiveness for that lovely intro he gave me to tonight's episode of that guy from that whatever podcast. Craig, I'm glad your show's over. It's been a disaster.
Here's the fantastic part about your last show. You don't have to give a shit about what your guests think because they're never coming back on. You don't have to make them feel appreciated.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say, before tonight, I always felt very appreciated on this show. Like, you guys are just a joy and welcoming. I've loved every moment of it.
Dan, thank you so much. Thank you for all your years of support and just having my back in all things.
It's been a charity case. But
pretty much. I remember that one time when I said I wanted to start a podcast, and you're like, you can do it on my platform, but you better be on time every week. And now look where you are in life.
I'm on time.
On your time. Bill.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Craig. It's been fun, man.
It's been fun. Y'all have a great life. We'll catch you in the future someday. We love y'all. Dan.
God bless the troops. God bless America.
God bless the Jews.
Whoa. Hey, didn't know we were getting political around here. God bless every single person in the world and help them.
The Break the Bell podcast is brought to you by you. So pat yourself on the back because without you, we would be talking to ourselves. A special thanks to our Patreon members, Justin Zielinski, Remzo Martinez, Stephanie Parker, and T.O. Jacobson. A shout out to our sponsors, Run Your Mouth Coffee, the On the Run podcast, and Goulash Media. If you'd like to help support us, visit patreon.com/breakthebell or buy our garbage at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Get back here next week and let us continue to invade your ear holes. And as always, never stop talking.
I was unmuted.